it's hard to stack up this class right now because it's very easy at the top with Bryce. Like Bryce in Houston, I don't want to say it's 100%, but it just seems very, very logical. Stroud will go somewhere in that top 12 with how many quarterback needy teams are. And if you're Atlanta and you like Stroud, can you just hope that happens?
Look, I'll say this too. We haven't gone over our final regular season film evaluation, but I wonder if CJ Stroud's not a possibility at 15 as well, because I was just looking at some of Stroud's numbers. Stroud has a 38 passing grade under pressure. He has been under pressure. He is ranked 133rd in the FBS when it comes to quarterbacks under pressure. 133rd. He has been downright terrible this year. He's got 3 big time throws, 6 turnover worthy plays under pressure. Where's the adjusted completion percentage? Adjusted completion percentage of 46% under pressure. He's been awful. Last year, I think there were question marks about what he was under pressure. And last year, he had a 67.2 grade under pressure. So this is so much worse. When he's not pressured, the grade goes from 38 all the way to 87.7. There's no quarterback in the country that has a bigger contrasted number between how they play when they're not pressured and when they're clean versus when things go wrong. And that's not good. That's not good for Stroud's evaluation.
That's a red flag.
Because especially, he's not a mobile quarterback. He's not a creator. It, like Dane was saying on the episode where we had him on last Thursday, the league looks for not just passers, but creators. And Stroud has absolutely failed that test, I think, so far this season. He gets to play Georgia. And where I don't think Ohio State is going to win that game, I don't know how many people are giving Ohio State a chance to win that game. That semifinal all of a sudden becomes monumental for CJ Stroud, because I think a lot of people who, whether they're super into the draft or whether they're casually into the draft, they have heard the concerns about Stroud. But I'm not sure a lot of people have watched a ton of Ohio State this year, because Ohio State was always going to destroy a soft schedule and be on a collision course in Michigan. So this is going to be the most watched and most, I'll say, rooted public opinion that people are going to have of CJ Stroud. And that Georgia defense is really good. And if he crumbles against this Georgia defense, I'm not saying struggles. Everybody struggles against the Georgia defense. Like, it's a really good defense. I'm not saying that like it's a slight. But if he crumbles, like if CJ Stroud looks genuinely bad in the college football playoff, I'm telling you, it's going to continue to push the narratives where we're already seeing, okay, not really a debate between Bryce Young and CJ Stroud anymore. All right, maybe CJ Stroud's just going to be, like a top 3 pick or something. Maybe he's going to be a top 5 pick. Then Dane tells us that maybe there's a lot of teams in the league that don't love CJ Stroud. I genuinely believe that CJ Stroud could get picked in the teens in this draft.
I think so too.
That's what I'm starting to think.
No, I think you're right on it. I think all the signs are there that Stroud is a guy that gets picked apart in the process. And
I would agree with that as well.
Because of what you said, how staggering that is, man, it's going to be fascinating to weigh it, right? Because Levis has a ton of problems on his own. And I feel like we're going to get to the point where people are going to try to, pick apart Stroud while also defending Levis. And I think that's a really dicey area, because I think you could just say they both have their flaws right now. I personally like Stroud better than Levis still, but I have fully embraced, going back to summer compared to now, that Bryce Young is in his own tier in this quarterback class.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, it might not be close. It might not be tier 1 and 2. It might be Bryce Young in tier 1. I don't know if we have a genuine tier 2. And then tier 3 could be, Stroud. And then even for me, I think tier 4 would be Levis and Richardson. But I think it just goes to further emphasize the point of he's not a lock to be a top 5 pick like we had thought for so long.
No, all of a sudden, these mock drafts that were kind of tricky early on because there's a lot of teams that would need a quarterback or would like a quarterback. And, often it was Bryce Young at the very top, CJ Stroud right after him, either at pick number 2 or pick number 3. I think we're going to start to see a lot more simulations where the range for CJ Stroud is pretty vast. And I do think that this, as much as it is unfair when it comes to the public perception of things, which we'll obviously try to weed through as much as we can for you guys, because that's what we want to do. We want to be a mediator if we can. It's going to mean a lot. If Stroud crumbles against Georgia and looks absolutely terrible under pressure, that's going to be his narrative. And like you said, he's going to get picked apart throughout the entire process. People are going to continue to point out how he can't be a creator outside of pressure. And if that's the case, man, if you've got a quarterback who you like the tools, you like the height, you like the build, you like the arm talent, you like the mechanics, you like all that, but if they cannot operate under pressure and outside of structure, how high do you take that quarterback?
You just described Jared Goff.
Jared Goff went number 1 overall, so I guess maybe you can convince yourself of him going high, but
yes, but I do think the league has evolved from there. That was a long time ago in terms of drafts.
We are old. That's true.
I think we like Jared Goff more than the general public likes Jared Goff, but how high do you and I'm not saying Stroud, I'm comping him to Goff, but I'm saying the way you drew it up, and I do agree with your evaluation, how high do you take a player like that? I don't actually know the answer right now. I'm actually fascinated to really come to that conclusion.